Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
I'm actually not going to blame Ben Simmons for taking away Joel Embiid's best opportunities or the team's best opportunities because Ben Simmons was Ben Simmons this whole time. Ben Simmons is a loser. Ben Simmons is no good. He doesn't have a position. He can't shoot. He has no post game. He can't. It's been that from the jump. The major problem was the people in control of Ben Simmons letting him do whatever the hell he wanted for all of those years. If one of these coaches had a pair of you know what, they would have said, "Hey, this ain't gonna work. I need to play a point guard. And if you're not going to shoot, you just can't play. I don't know what to tell you. I would have had an argument with Josh Harris and said, I don't care how much money you played this guy. I can't put him on the floor in the half court. It's impossible. We were down 0-3 to the Boston Celtics, and Brett Brown started TJ McConnell at point guard next to Ben Simmons. That was the only game in the series that we won. So it doesn't even have to be a star point guard, just a point guard. You need a point guard in a basketball game. And Ben Simmons has never been one. It didn't make any sense. It drove me nuts watching that style of play, bring the ball across half court and hand it off to Seth Curry, who's not a point guard, or hand it off to JJ Redick, who's not a point guard. It was mind-numbingly stupid, the whole thing. It's the people in charge that allowed that to happen for years instead of just saying this ain't going to work. Look, it didn't take the Brooklyn Nets very long to bring him off the bench. And they're still trying to play him because they owe him a lot of money and they're hoping that becomes worth something. But they already decided this guy can't start. He's not giving us anything. And, I mean, he was giving us a lot more than he's given the Brooklyn Nets, but it's the same concept. You needed a point guard. You just needed a point guard that whole time. Any point guard would have been better than this 6'10 guy bringing the ball up and handing it off to J.J. Redick, who should never be dribbling a basketball. I saw for what felt like way too long, and I think that was the major issue. But, yeah, I mean, it is the fact that Ben Simmons was there, but it was really, to me, the mishandling of it or just people not being tough enough to say, hey, yeah, this ain't going to work. Let's be totally honest. There's a black cloud over this franchise. There just is. You had a potential 6'10 left-handed LeBron James who turned out to be averaging 2 points off the bench for the Brooklyn Nets. You had the next Kyrie Irving, Derrick Rose, whatever, and Markelle Fultz who forgot how to shoot. The only time we won a championship is because the ABA was ending and Julius Erving came over to the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. That's the only reason we won a championship in 1983. We had the 10 years of Allen Iverson, couldn't put anybody better than Aaron McKee around him. This franchise has just had the worst luck ever. We traded for a guy, there was billboards with his face on it, and he hurt himself in a bowling alley. You can't make up these stories. You just can't. It's insanity. It has to be cursed. It has to be cursed.
And that's my thing. Like, I'm starting to get these black clouds and thoughts over me that we may have just wasted a talent like Joel Embiid. And I don't want to speak too far in the future because it just, the timing of everything is interesting. But if we get to a point in the next couple of years and we're not really there, we're not contending, this is going to go down as one of the worst handlings of a superstar that I've ever seen. Like, there's no reason you can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals with Joel Embiid. Think about that. How many times have we been to the second round? We have the coach that's known for blowing the most second-round leads, and we can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Not even the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals with Joel Embiid. That's frustrating. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and just the amount of blown assets in general. When we talk about the Jahlil Okafors, the Nerlens Noels, all these first-round picks, it just – Embiid is the only guy that worked out of it. That's the only guy that's become, and even looking beyond that, the Dario Saric's, all these pieces that like we hypothetically had and look so great when we have this giant collection of picks, really has not turned out anything. And even when you look, Maxey has been the saving grace, like the second wind of this franchise. Him falling to 21st is like, think about if we're talking about this, like if that's your general 21st, like if that's like Aaron Naismith, who went higher than 21, but if that's like just a rotation guy, which is kind of what you're hoping for that section of the draft, like the Sixers, the outlook is significantly grimmer right now. So the fact that we kind of have this saving grace is a guy that has rapidly become a key piece and developed far more than anyone expected in 3 years is another kind of, I guess, white lining if we want to look at it positively. But things just like, it is insane, just the lack of what has worked out from the collection of assets when we started the whole process and everything as well. So it's definitely frustrating.
Yeah, because most teams, draft a Joel, they stink for 1 year. They draft Joel Embiid at number 3, and they move forward. They don't lose on purpose for 3 entire seasons and stack up all of these things and make all these weird draft picks. They were calling us the Philadelphia 7-footers, Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid. Like this took almost 10 years, and most teams just get a guy number 3 overall because they were bad, and he ends up being good, and then they build around him. Like the tanking thing, I hated what Stephen A. Smith was saying in the beginning of it, but he was 100% correct. The tanking was ridiculous. It was embarrassing, and all we got out of all of that is Joel Embiid. Again, like we got Tyrese Maxey at 21. We didn't have to lose on purpose for 3 years to get a great player. Yeah. That's
where I get frustrated is just like, again, like everybody's pointing now at Daryl Morey and we need to go out and improve the roster. I'm just going to keep going back to the same roots here. Like we need to develop better. How many guys do we have in here? They don't show anything and we don't coach them up the right way. Like we don't really go through the motions. The best example I have is look at the Boston Celtics last year. Untraditional run to the finals. Who was playing on the Celtics team? All right. They were led by a 24-year-old Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who are stars. Like or at least they're close if they're not. But look who else was playing on that team. Rob Williams. First year, they said he had anger problems. They said he couldn't play. He's out there blocking everybody in the playoffs. All right. Peyton Pritchard. Who else? I mean, Grant Williams. How many guys did they draft in the last couple years? And even Tatum and Jaylen Brown weren't that far back. All of their team was drafted. How about the team they were playing? The Warriors. They drafted all of them. They developed them. And, at this point, maybe we don't need to sign anybody. Maybe we need to develop Charles Bassey, Isaiah Joe, and Jaden Springer, and Matisse Thybulle, and we'd have a superstar team. We have a team that can get one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's without developing almost everybody.
Yeah, the answer to all of that is Daryl Morey needs to grow a pair. That's the answer. Clearly, Doc Rivers is bullying Daryl Morey. There's no way around it. Like he's drafting players, Doc isn't playing them, and then he gets bullied into releasing the guy. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. He needs to grow a pair. I just tweeted him. I said, we decided that Doc Rivers is bullying you around, and you need to grow a pair. So I just tweeted that at Daryl Morey. Maybe he'll reply to me. He probably won't.
Well, everybody in the chat saying that we're like making them up depressed and upset. Look, I'm sorry, man. I want to see this team be great. Like how do you expect everybody to go year by year? And this will probably take us to our last topic, which is the ultimate question. Are the Sixers headed in the right direction? It feels like we're kind of on the same track every year.
No, people do that all the time. They say, "Oh, you're so doom and gloom. You're being so negative." To the people that say that in the chat, is this a championship team to you? What you watched so far this season, do you think we can beat the Bucks or the Celtics and get to the NBA Finals with this team? The answer to that is no. There's no way you do. So we're just being honest up here. What are we supposed to say?